Zombies is finally returning after being on a hiatus for quite some time, and I think that this hiatus is much needed since the Zombies community was in a dreadful state after the very underwhelming Vanguard Zombies that just didn't suffice, with its content being very limited and people not enjoying the Outbreak style gameplay of Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta. I also want to talk about Zombies coming to DMZ because I think that this is a huge probability based on the information that we have at this current moment in time. So I'm sure you've heard this piece of news before, as it was a couple weeks ago and I'm quite late on covering this subject and plenty of other people have already made videos about this, but recently Treyarch did put up a job listing which was for a senior level designer for Warzone, and the job description reads: do you walk into a space and immediately imagine how it would play in a video game? Do you find yourself thinking of ways to make the space better? How could you improve it to make it an engaging player experience? So do we. Treyarch is looking for a talented level designer to join their Warzone team. As a senior level designer, you will work on production content for Warzone, Outbreak, and other large map experiences. If you are excited about building realistic, well-crafted maps that will be enjoyed by millions of Call of Duty fans across the world, then come join Treyarch. So straight off the bat, this confirms that Treyarch are indeed working on a future Warzone map, and they are also working on Outbreak. So Outbreak is definitely going to be returning. A lot of people have talked about how Outbreak seems to be the future of Zombies. Don't worry though, Round Based isn't going anywhere. Kevin Drew, Treyarch Zombies' lead, has talked about that they have big plans for their next game, and that Round Based isn't going anywhere, but it seems like they're going to have both an expansive Round Based as well as an Outbreak experience. And what's good about this is that Treyarch's next Call of Duty game apparently won't be releasing until 2024. This is going to give Treyarch adequate time to hopefully make a really expansive Zombies experience, whereas they didn't really get much time with Cold War Zombies, and despite that, it still ended up being a really solid experience with a lot of innovations, especially in terms of the gameplay. So now with more time, we can see gameplay innovations as well as a vast plethora of content and a more expansive Outbreak experience. I think that Outbreak was very good inside of Cold War Zombies, but it really did feel like the potential was much higher than what we received, and it felt like Outbreak and Cold War Zombies was merely setting the groundwork for something that would be a lot more phenomenal in the future. In terms of Warzone, because Treyarch's next COD game won't apparently be until 2024, in the meantime in 2023 there's apparently going to be a huge expansion to Modern Warfare 2 featuring an entirely new campaign as well as a bunch of new multiplayer maps. There is apparently going to be a brand new Warzone map as well, which is set in Mexico and is Las Almas. The map for it is already shown in the campaign for the game, so that'll be the new map releasing next year, and then in 2024 there'll be a Treyarch designed Warzone map. And Treyarch so far haven't actually ever made a Warzone map. Raven Software have been heading Warzone throughout Black Ops Cold War and beyond, and whilst Treyarch definitely had input, they weren't the primary developer, and that is going to change with COD 2024 it seems, which I'm really excited about. I think that they did a lot of great things with Blackout, but Blackout definitely needed a lot more development time. Overall though, I felt like Treyarch knew what the fun factor was with Blackout, and with a lot of the gameplay tweaks and innovations of Warzone, with that Treyarch flavouring on top of it, I think that Treyarch are going to blow it out of the park with their own, finally, Warzone experience. Treyarch have been talking about how they have very big plans for this next Zombies game. They also want to have harder Easter eggs while still having the more straightforward and more quest-like missions which aren't really Easter eggs on the Zombies maps. So hopefully their next game caters to all types of players, hardcore, casuals and alike. Outbreak was Treyarch's first attempt at making a Warzone-like Zombies experience, but that is about to change with their second attempt at Outbreak, and that's what I want to talk about in a little second, as well as the fact that I think we are going to be getting a DMZ Zombies mode, and I'll explain why. But first things first, I have an awesome sponsored message to share with you before I discuss all of that. This video has been kindly sponsored by GameRound. Are you a passionate gamer looking to get your hands on the latest and greatest games before anyone else? Well, look no further than G-Round. Their 100% free community-driven platform provides early access to upcoming and unreleased games, and their program allows gamers like you and I to earn rewards by providing valuable feedback to developers. Games are picked every week to be supported by you. They are dedicated to helping game developers gather feedback, improve, and polish their games to provide the ultimate gaming experience. It's the perfect system. Play brand new games, help them out, and in return, you will be rewarded. Here's how it works. If you head to the description, you can create an account, then download the G-Round launcher. You will see that there's a diverse plethora of games to choose from, with many being added often. Some games that are labelled with the Steam icon require you to open the Steam launcher to download it. For example, Eren, which is one of the latest week's games. Others you can simply install straight from the G-Round launcher. For example, another one of the latest games, Goat's Tale 2. When you see a game you like, check it out. I would urge you to try out Eren and Goat's Tale 2, as have I. After you have played them for a certain amount of time, you are then able to review them by filling out a quick survey about your experience. Reviews can be made in any language you desire. Because you are helping out developers in playtesting and improving their games, they want to reward you via the G-Points currency. As you playtest, survey and participate in events, you will be able to accumulate more points. You can then use these points to redeem gaming gear and other items such as headphones, controllers, keyboards and more. In addition, you are able to record and share gameplay clips on the platform to highlight your best moments in the games. But that's not all. With G-Round Heroes, your reviews and surveys will automatically enter you into drawings for amazing prizes like gaming PCs and laptops, Nintendo Switches, VR headsets and other gaming equipment. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to shape the future of gaming and score some awesome rewards along the way. G-Round Heroes is back and better than ever with its XXL Season 3, running from now until February 2nd, 2023. To participate, you can simply sign up via the link below and link your G-Round email with your Discord username. So I am so excited to see the return of Outbreak. Hopefully, the map is a lot more interactive this time, and there's a lot more to do on the map so it doesn't get boring. I felt like Outbreak at times, especially in the early rounds, felt really slow paced and it took a good few rounds to start to pick up pace and get into it. But judging from this job listing, it's for a Warzone developer, which makes it sound like Outbreak 2 is potentially going to be played on whatever this new Treyarch Warzone map they are working on. Of course, Outbreak 1 was played on the Euro Mountains, which was originally supposed to be for a Blackout 2 Battle Royale experience, but it got cancelled, and we ended up just seeing sections of the map in Fireteam as well as in Outbreak, of course. And if Outbreak is going to be a part of Warzone this time around, it's probably going to be free to play, just like DMZ is, and thank God for that. DMZ has been a huge success for Warzone 2. It seems to be even more successful than the Battle Royale experience. Whilst the Battle Royale experience seems very controversial, a lot of people are hating on it and they have issues with it, people seem to be enjoying DMZ as a good alternative. And DMZ bridges the gap between having a sort of sandbox, semi-open world experience on this large Warzone map with a lot of Warzone mechanics, and Outbreak was exactly that, but instead of having normal AI, it just had zombies, which in my opinion, zombies are a much more enjoyable AI type to fight as opposed to normal AI soldiers. So I really think that Outbreak this time is going to be free to play, and that will open up zombies to a much wider player base. And hopefully some of those people who try out Outbreak, since it might be a part of Warzone this time, will then be enticed to try out the round-based and whatever other zombies experiences Treyarch offer as a part of the premium Call of Duty game that they release, and I really want to see Onslaught back too. And the player base would be so huge for this because Outbreak was very popular. It had the peak player base in Cold War Zombies when Outbreak released, and if Outbreak is free to play this time, the player base is going to be phenomenal, and that'll bring a lot of players over to the rest of the Zombies experience, and Zombies could see a peak in player base once again and see a massive comeback with COD 2024. The future of Zombies really is an open world Zombies experience. Whilst round-based is going nowhere, if you have a good round-based experience to coincide with a good open world Zombies experience, you get the best of both worlds to cater to two different as well as similar player bases and a lot of those Warzone fans. DMZ and Outbreak bridge the gap between Warzone and the normal Call of Duty experiences. Like I said though, the main takeaway is I want Outbreak to be more interactive this time. I don't know how they're going to do it though. With Outbreak 1, we of course just teleported from location to location, but I'm hoping that for Outbreak 2, that it's played on the full Warzone map, whatever map that Treyarch are working on, and we don't just teleport from location to location. And I hope it feels more like a true open world experience where you have a lot more freedom and you aren't limited to just one location. And also with Outbreak 1, after you killed all of the zombies on the map, they eventually just stopped spawning in. I want to see a sandbox mode where you can just stay and just go from objective to objective, from side Easter egg to side Easter egg, from side quest to side quest, all over this full large Warzone map and discover all of the secrets, and there's a ton of interactive features as opposed to teleporting from location to location. I also think they'll probably do multiple different versions of Outbreak this time around instead of just the main experience. Of course, Outbreak had a few different modes that were released after as limited time modes. We of course had the survival Outbreak experience where you had to eat food to regenerate your health as there wasn't automatic health regen, and you also had no HUD, and that was pretty cool and more immersive. And we also had the Outbreak collapse mode, which I think was really fun, considering that you just stayed in one smaller location instead of teleporting from location to location, and it was very intense, in which you eventually exfilled at the end. I want to see Outbreak collapse back if they do Outbreak again, and I also want to see a DMZ style Outbreak experience, because if you think about it, Cold War Zombies was the first DMZ-like mode where it was an extraction based mode, because you could choose to survive infinitely or you could choose to extract on the helicopter, just like in DMZ, I think this can be utilized to where we have a DMZ experience for Outbreak 2. Instead of having normal AI soldiers, we have zombies, and I really think that Treyarch are probably going to do this. Like I said earlier, I find normal soldiers quite boring. Whilst I think that DMZ is a really solid mode, I'm just not that immersed into it because of the fact that it has normal soldiers. It just seems too boring to me. I like the more fantasy or sci-fi stuff that Zombies provides, or other AI types such as aliens or whatever they want to do. And DMZ would be a lot more enjoyable in my opinion with having zombies, especially because the zombies won't be able to shoot at you unless there are special boss zombies, and maybe they are able to shoot at you like the Panzer Soldat or the Stormkrieger in Vanguard Zombies. But no one likes being shot at. A lot of people are complaining about DMZ with the AI having ridiculous aimbot and just being able to kill you so quickly, which has been nerfed with Season 1 Reloaded, but still, DMZ would just be so much more enjoyable if you had zombies and you weren't constantly being shot at. You could just train the zombies like you would normally and outsmart them instead of the AI just feeling extremely overpowered. And the thing is, the reason why I think there is going to be a DMZ-like Outbreak experience is because it seems like Infinity Ward were working on something like this in Modern Warfare 2019, but it was cancelled. So for Modern Warfare 2019, there was planned to be a lot of Spec Ops content, but the vast majority of it got cancelled. And they were also planning for an extraction-based mode in Warzone, but I guess that ended up getting saved and eventually turned into DMZ. Well, there was a mode found in Modern Warfare 2019's files, which was going to be player versus zombies. And it was going to be an extraction-based mode, and if you read the information from the files, it sounds exactly like what DMZ is. It was apparently going to be played on Verdansk, there would be different objectives around the map, and there would be large, beefy bosses, and you will be able to kill these bosses to get special powerful weapons or blueprints from them. There's even in the files of Modern Warfare 2019 a texture for one of these large, beefy zombie bosses, and then you would be able to extract at the end, and this sounds exactly like what DMZ is, so I really think that they are probably going to work on a DMZ Zombies experience. I wonder if this will release with Treyarch's next Call of Duty Zombies game, and whenever they release their new Warzone map, or whether we could even have something, for example, next Halloween. As a Halloween event, they could have a Zombies mode for DMZ, a limited time mode that's there for like a month or something, and then they can gauge audience feedback and see if people are a fan of a DMZ-like Zombies experience, and maybe that could help Activision determine whether they do make Outbreak, the second iteration of it, free to play this time around, which I think it would be a huge success if they did this. So yeah, in my opinion, I really do think that we're going to see a DMZ Zombies experience with Treyarch's next Call of Duty Zombies game, and it's probably just going to be a part of Outbreak. Outbreak's probably going to get multiple different modes next time instead of just the one traditional mode. I just hope that they make it, like I said earlier, the map more interactive and it feels more like an open world, a true open world experience. Outbreak also suffered because the updates took quite a while to come out. If you play Outbreak now, it's much more enjoyable than Outbreak at launch because there's way more things to do now. There's way more equipment, there's a much wider, diverse range of main objectives, there's way more side objectives, there's a lot of cool side things that have been added such as fishing, as well as new perks that get added. You also have the grapple hook. There's just so many cool additions to the mode. I think with Outbreak 2 there needs to be a lot of objectives on launch as well as side objectives. That is very important, but there still needs to be enough to be added as post-launch content. Outbreak works really well for post-launch content because they can easily add new wonder weapons from the round-based maps, new zombie types, and a lot more intel and side objectives and just loads of cool things. And I think it would be really good if Outbreak is a part of Warzone next time and is free to play, because they can be doing the regular updates to Outbreak, whereas they still have to make sure that they have enough content for round-based fans in the main game. Because Cold War Zombies suffered where there was a big gap between Firebase Z and Mauer der Toten for round-based fans, where there was lots of Outbreak content in between then, but it was too long of a wait for round-based fans. But if they make Outbreak free to play, they will have to make sure there is enough round-based content for the premium owners of the next Treyarch Zombies game, which means that there might be a round-based map every season. If they end up having 5 seasons like we think Modern Warfare 2 is going to have, and Vanguard did have, there could maybe be 1 round-based map per season, as well as Outbreak continuously getting updated for free-to-play players. Another thing worth noting is that in the files of Modern Warfare 2, there's been icons found for round-based as well as Outbreak, and I think the reason for this is because Call of Duty is now using one unified engine. COD 2024 is going to be booting from Modern Warfare 2's engine. It seems like all of the Call of Duties are now going to be connected as a part of the Call of Duty HQ, and what it means is that anything Treyarch adds to the files of the game will be added to the Modern Warfare 2 files as well, and that's probably why Outbreak and Round-based are in the files. Not that probably Zombies is coming to Modern Warfare 2. I think this is probably files for COD 2024, especially simply because Treyarch developers have talked about on Twitter how anytime they update something in the files of the game, it will be added to Modern Warfare 2 and this unified engine. But despite the fact that COD 2024 is going to be using Infinity Ward's engine, it will apparently still feel distinctively like a Treyarch Call of Duty experience. Of course, Infinity Ward and Treyarch COD games feel different, and different players prefer different styles, with Infinity Ward games being more about realism, Treyarch games being more arcadey. So hopefully that is in fact true. Now, there has been a lot of people talking about maybe zombies are going to be coming to DMZ because they might think there's maybe slight connections with the intel about the nuclear waste or these golden skulls that you can find. Personally though, I think that's a bit far-fetched to think this ties into zombies. There are sort of hints towards some sort of magical or mythological thing inside of DMZ, and again, maybe these are all hints that zombies could be coming to DMZ in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. It is a bit too vague to say that concretely just yet, but that's what a lot of people are speculating. So that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section down below. Do you think that DMZ is going to get a zombies mode? I personally do, especially in time for Treyarch's next COD Zombies game. I really hope Outbreak is free to play and a part of Warzone for this next game as well, and I hope we get to play on the full Warzone map instead of just sections from it, and I hope there's a lot more objectives and the map is a lot more dynamic and interactive, and maybe they could even have dynamic weather on the map too, considering that DMZ is going to be getting dynamic weather in a future update. DMZ really does feel like Outbreak, but not as expansive. There's not as many cool side objectives. The side objectives are a lot more enjoyable in Outbreak because they are fantasy and scientific, and the different AI is fun, and it would just be so fun to get a DMZ Zombies experience with zombies bosses and all sorts of stuff. And it would bridge the gap by getting a lot of Warzone fans over to zombies, and maybe they'll buy the full COD 2024 premium game to try out the rest of the zombies experience if they like Outbreak, if it is a part of Warzone 2 and it's free to play. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if not, for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.